Hello and welcome. So I believe that we have already mastered the putting this live on Facebook, and I think we're going live right now, so that's awesome. I want to welcome everybody. As people start to join the group, I'm just going to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about where I come from, and then by the time we have a full house, I will hand over the presentation. But welcome, I'm Mara Walsh. I am a group leader, and I started leading tours with EF Tours as a Girl Scout leader, taking girls and their families to international destinations every summer. And I've since expanded my travel program and added adult-only tours, as well as family-friendly tours. And today, and quite honestly, what has happened in the absence of physical travel is I thought it would be fun to travel virtually. We've done a few tours in the past weeks, and I know several of you have been on them. We have done Rome, Edinburgh, Paris, London. I know that we have several more of them in the works, but we have recordings of all of the ones that we've done so far. So if you haven't had the opportunity to join us, you can go to girltraveltours.com and see the recordings of all the virtual tours. We have several more tours in the works, including Ireland, Greece, Prague, Egypt, and several more that aren't scheduled out yet, but we're in the works of coordinating those. Ireland is up next, so feel free to register for that one or any of the ones that you are interested in after this tour. Today, I'm excited to share a country that my group is anxiously awaiting to visit in 2022, and that country is Peru. But before we get started, I want to share a few housekeeping items with you. There's a few ways for you to interact with us. Feel free to ask questions about Peru, the tour director, or my travel program through the Q&A link on your toolbar with Zoom. We will have a Q&A session at the end of the tour, so feel free to add your questions as we go along. You can also use the chat feature if you need to communicate with me directly. I also would like to put an interactive poll question, and I'm going to actually pose that question now to get everybody going with the tour, and I'm going to launch this right now. And the poll is, what is your connection to Peru? And you can feel free to answer this. I've been and love it. I have a trip booked. I plan to go in the future, or I'm solely interested in virtual experiences. So I'll give you a minute to put your responses in. It looks like we have a little bit more, almost 250 people on the tour today, and we're just at about 60 or 70% of you all putting your answers in. So I'll give you a minute to fill them in. But it looks like most people, or the highest percentage of people, more than 50%, are planning to go in the future. There's about 20% of you who have already gone. And there's a small percent of people who have a trip booked. And I know I'm one of those people. I've never been, but I have a trip booked, and I'm taking a group of about 30 or so to Peru in 2 years. So I'm very happy to have that to look forward to. Okay, so that's our poll that we're going to take off now so that we can get moving. So regardless of how much you know about Peru, what I've learned in all of these virtual trips is that you always learn more, right? And I know that it will enhance your experience to what you already know about Peru to be on this tour. I've been on all of the virtual tours that we've put out this year, and many of the cities I've known very well, and I've always learned new anecdotes, which I think are awesome. And I know that there is a lot in store for you today because I've reviewed the materials and the content. So on a tour director is by far the most important person on the tour. They are like your personal travel concierge. They stay with the group from start to finish. They share a world of knowledge, and they manage all the tour plans, including everything that you don't have to worry about. And they make the experience less stressful, and they make the experience extremely positive, and it gives you the ability to obviously have all positive and great memories, and no worries. These tour directors are by far our most important people in our group, and as you can imagine, if we're not traveling during the summer and spring breaks and in the fall, our tour directors aren't working. So I'm hoping that this virtual tour will not only reignite our desire to travel, but allow a tour director to do what she does best and share her knowledge and passion while earning some tips as well. And I know a fan favorite for many EF group leaders who many of you were fortunate enough to travel with in the past, and some of you will be fortunate enough to meet in the future, just happens to live in Peru and was excited to reconnect with past and future travelers to share her passion for her country with all of us. I am honored to introduce you to and hand over this event to our amazing tour director, Sally Lorente. Sally, I'm going to give it over to you and you can take it away.
Thank you, Mara. Hola con todos. Yanchu, it is our official say hi to people in our language of the country. I'm Sally Laurente. I live in Peru. I'm a tour director working with EF for the last 6 years, but I've been in tourism these last 16 years. And for me, it is an honor to be able to present and talk about my beautiful country. And I can see that I have people here watching this presentation, friends that I met already, and for the new ones that are coming as well, I'll be very happy to share with you what I know about my country. Sharing with you not just information that could be easily read in books, but then I will share with you experiences. The experiences that we get to have while you grow in the mountains or in the highlands, which is a place that I come from. So I come from the mountains similar than Cusco, and today we will be talking about Peru. Peru, it is this huge country that is so big, so diverse. So 40 minutes won't be enough to cover the entire country. So that's why I have picked up a few of the areas that we will be knowing and sharing. And I'm sure that this first image, it is like the one that everyone wants to take if you arrive to Peru. It is Machu Picchu. And Peru, it's not holding just Machu Picchu, it has way more things to share and to learn. And tour directors, we are passionate about our jobs, and we try to make sure that when you arrive here to the country, we give you a trip of a lifetime. As Mara said, we are trying always to do our best and to make sure that you take Peru in your heart back home. So let's start with this. This is my beloved Machu Picchu. Our office of the tour directors, we are very lucky to go here every time we have groups. I probably have been over 300 times in this beautiful spot, and I can go any other day because it's just a beautiful and a lovely place. So I will start presenting you Peru. Peru is located in South America, as you can see in the map on the left, and it is surrounded by different countries. And we in the country speak Spanish. I hope that we have some Spanish speakers in the audience. And as I told you, we are going to see Lima. Then we will get to check Cusco, Machu Picchu, the Sacred Valley on the way, and then finally we will see Iquitos, which is up there in the north of the Peruvian Amazon. So this is just to show you where Peru is located. And about Peru, it is this huge country that has 32 million people, and we as a country, we have 24 states. Well, we call them departments, but we split them in like states. And Lima is the capital of it. Lima is by far the biggest metropole of Peru, because we are holding just here the third part of the Peruvian population. We hold almost 12 million people already in this place. So just to share a little thing with you, here is Lima, my region where I come from. It is here in Junín. So I come from that area. And then we have in Peru this new map where it shows you clearly how our country it is split according to the regions. So this is showing us the coast, line coast, which is the light brown, and it is representing the 10% of the Peruvian territory. And then we have the darker brown color, which is the highlands. It is where the Andes go across from the north, from Ecuador, all the way down until Chile and Argentina, and that has the 30% of the country. And then the 60%, it is jungle. It is the beautiful jungle that we've got as a heritage and from nature. And in this opportunity, we are going to see Iquitos as well. So it's according to the territories. Here I have a picture, a very typical picture of Lima, which is this city that has big contrast. You have this beautiful and modern developed area, which is a neighborhood named Miraflores, and then it is next to the Pacific Ocean. And by the way, our main activities in the country are fishing, because we produce a lot of flour and we send them to continents as Asia. In many Asian countries, they will consume a lot of our fish flour. And then we as well do mining. We have great minerals as copper, silver, gold. Those are our main activities together with the tourism. And in this coast line with the Pacific, whenever you arrive to Lima, you have to visit this area. That's where all the groups or our groups have to visit and go to explore and take beautiful pictures of this place. But then if you are in Lima, you have to go to the center, you have to go to downtown. You visit this beautiful Plaza Artemis, which is our main square of Lima. It's what the Spanish people did as a foundation in 1535. They finally arrived to this territory. Well, they did it before, but then in this year, they decided to have the capital of Peru in Lima. Maybe just if you can see a little bit at the back part here in the mountains, look at the picture that I showed you before. And together with this picture, it just shows you how diverse Lima can be. In 20 minutes drive, you can be in the coastline, and 20 minutes later, you will be right here next to the beginning of the Andes, no, in the mountains. So then in this little hill that we have here, we have houses. There are shanty towns. And then we will talk about that social difference of people living on the hills and people living at the bottom part. When you are in Lima, for sure, you have to visit this beautiful square. Guides are expert to talk about dates and how the story was developed in this beautiful area. And of course, you will walk through these beautiful streets where you can see the Spanish influence. These beautiful balconies are still from those times, so it's 300 years, and some of them have the mahogany wood, cedar wood, and to maintain these houses are expensive, but then the UNESCO, which is like an organization that is protecting these kind of buildings, and it's the beauty of Lima. Lima has this beautiful contrast because you can see this kind of areas. But then how the Spanish found Lima? Lima, when the Spanish people arrived, it was populated by Inca people. The Incas, they took over other cultures and they were able to domain these vast territories. So the Spanish people, they built their temples and their churches on top of Inca temples. So this is a clear example of how in the middle of a beautiful city, well developed, you have this kind of pyramids. No, it's not like the pyramids in Egypt, but there are pyramids with we have like the top is flat, and just to give you a clear example, this is a residential area, for example, but in the middle you have this beautiful pyramid. What happened 30 or 40 years ago? When Lima was growing, the kids, they used to play. I have friends who live near, like a few blocks away from this Waka, which is now a religious area. They used to go with their bikes, and it was a dirt hill where they used to go with their bikes, and they were playing around. But then suddenly people wanted to keep building, and then they carved a little bit, and they found out that this was actually a ceremonial temple, that was built there 300 years after Christ. And it was based in Lima. It was a pre-Inca culture. This is a nice Waka Guayamarca, that we get to visit with some of our groups. Then, if we keep talking about the coast, that 10% of coast that I show you at the beginning contains beautiful places, as this beautiful natural oasis that it's called Huacachina. And you have like these beautiful areas that are natural formed, and where you can actually have like a great time. If you are in Peru, just by taking 1 hour flight, as we are going to do it now, for example, in this map I showed you Lima, and then we will take 1 hour flight to Cusco. But if we would have to go by bus, it's going to take 23 hours of bus ride, and it's not the best flat and nice road. It is a windy road, so if you suffer a motion sickness, then it's not a good idea at all. You can have troubles if you take a bus. So then if after this 1 hour flight, you arrive to this beautiful, beautiful place where I heard a lot of people saying that I wish, that's the common phrase, I wish I had longer time here. But you have to keep going, because if not, you are going to miss other beautiful stuff as well. So this is Cusco main square. This was the capital of the Incas Empire. So this is the cathedral. They have beautiful paintings. The cathedral itself, it's something that you have to visit if you are in Cusco. And this is a farther picture about Cusco, where you can see that all the roof it are tiles. It's mandatory. It is a rule for all the Cusqueña people who live in the center to have these tiles. Of course, this looks like a Spanish uh, city, but if you see the streets, if you get lost into the streets and are able to walk a little bit, then you are going to realize that the bottom part of most of the houses in the center, they have the foundations of the Inca buildings and the Inca temples. On top, the Spanish, they just put some mud bricks and then plaster, and then that is how they build most of the actual houses that we have there. We have these beautiful squares where you can have a free time and have a coffee. Most of these places are restaurants or business where you can enjoy a beautiful afternoon. Cusco at night as well, it's beautiful. But then who were the people who built this place? The Incas. Well, wrong name that the Incas, the only one that was known as the Inca was the king. So the guy that is being carried in this picture, he was the king. But the rest of them, what was the name of them? The Quechua, it is a language that is official. No? In Peru, we speak three languages: Spanish, Quechua, and Aymara. Quechua, it is a language that is coming from the Inca times, but in the past, the official name was Runasimi, which is the language of the man. And this language was spoken in those times, but it wasn't a written language. That's why most of our information was lost in time. And that is how we don't have the records of our stories, and it's just transmitted by heritage, by people, by our ancestors, by our grandparents talking about stories of those times. So this king, they existed in the country around the 13th century, and it is said that they emerged from the south of the country from Lake Titicaca, and a couple of them started to walk to the north towards Cusco area, and that is where they found this beautiful fertile valley. So then they decided to create a new this empire, which were Mamaoclio and Manco Capac, which were our first couple of Inca that we know. And then suddenly they started to take over on all the cultures that we had around. So before the Incas, we know two important ones, the Tiahuanaco and the Wari culture. These cultures, they had their top organization and their top developing until the 12th century. But then when the Incas came, they just started to conquer all the territories, and they decided to conquest all the territories going to the north, to the south of Colombia. They have occupied Ecuador, Bolivia, Peru in the entire country, and then they did Chile and Argentina as well. But where was the capital? The capital was located right in the center of the empire, which was Cusco. Cusco is the local name, the actual name, but in the past, Cusco was known as Cusco. So this Quechua language, it is spoken from the throat, and it is a hard pronunciation. So unfortunately, I didn't grow speaking the language. I wish I did. My mom spoke Quechua, but then she had to stop speaking in the language because if you spoke in the past Quechua, it was a shame, it was embarrassing. But then the government these last years, they decided to open these programs to start teaching the new generations in the language that we should keep and preserve. These Incas were very tough, very intelligent, but how, if they didn't have a written language, how they were able to be so well organized? They had an accounting system. This is one of the Cusqueña people that was chosen to represent the king. This is to give you an idea how they looked like, how they used to dress up. Mostly they were wearing clothes from these beautiful fibers of alpaca and vicuña, which are these camelid family animals, and they were dressing the king with the best fibers. So then dyeing their textiles as well. We will see some pictures next as well. But then they were looking like this. They were tough people, very well organized. Their base of the society was the IU, which means the family. So they all had to pay taxes to the king. And then at the same time, the king will always have food and will have a great organization for them. How were they well organized? With this little image or this item that I show you now. It is called quipu, and it was the computer of the Incas. They didn't have a computer in the past, but then they had this quipu. Quipu is of different ropes, and according to the colors and according to the knot located along the string, it was told how many new towns they were conquering. So they had in this little string named as Kipu, they were having like just their accounting system. So that's the secret, or that is how they were very successful. In the entire country, we have potatoes. The ones that have been in Peru, you know already more or less how many potatoes we have, but we have at least 3,800 varieties of potatoes. And these potatoes are spread out in the entire country. This is a beautiful map made just of potatoes. And I come from a town where we harvested 345 varieties of potatoes. So the potatoes are our main meal. We harvested most of our agriculture. It is based on the potatoes. We now have started to rescue these native potatoes. So when you cut these native potatoes, this is how it is going to show you. And it's not rotten. It is how beautiful and how delicious would be the potatoes. We have different colors, different types, different flavors. So we would have potatoes to eat one different every single day during like 3 or more than, no, 6 years, and it will be always eating different varieties of potatoes. So look at how If you cut it, it's purple at the bottom. So if you are in Peru, please, you have to make sure to try our delicious potatoes. But how do we make sure, tour director, we make sure that you eat different types of potatoes in our delicious food? So we cannot talk about Peru and not show you our cuisine. Peru, it's known these last 7 years because we are winning by the best food in the world. And this potato that you have it in the front, it is known as la peruanita. We are very happy to have this potato because it has the two colors of our Peruvian flag. It is, well, red and white. And if you come to Peru, you have for sure to try Lomo Saltado. If you are in Peru and you don't try this meal, then you haven't been here. If you walk on the streets and you ask people, what's your favorite meal? Then they are going to say, especially men, Lomo Saltado. And what is it? It is beef stir fry in a wok with soya sauce, with some tomatoes and some onions. And of course, this has some Chinese influence. We had a fusion in the past in our history. We had Africans and Chinese people that were brought by the Spanish people to work as slaves in our mines. We had silver mines and other mines that they they had to bring them to this country to use them as slaves. And then thanks to that, our Peruvian cuisine, it is very diverse. The next one that you should try if you are here, it is this ají de gallina. It is a chicken curry. And of course, at the bottom, you find potatoes. And let me tell you something. If you come to the country and a week or 10 days after this trip, probably you won't want to see any more potatoes because we love potatoes and we serve it pretty much in every meal. If you are here, you have to for sure eat ceviche. Ceviche, it looks like raw fish, but it is not because it's cooked with the juice of the lime. And this is one of the Peruvian flag dishes. It's known as the main meal of Peru, like the national meal that we have to eat if you are here. So for the ones who like fish, then this is a great chance, and it's usually Lima where you should try it. Then for the brave ones, the ones who are more adventurous and want to try the local food, this is something that you are going to find in the corners whenever you walk in any city, especially on weekends. You will find the anticuchos. You have a bite of this and you will think, oh my God, this is a delicious meat. This is a delicious piece of steak. But then your guide or your tour director is going to look at you and say, no, this is not meat. This is heart of beef. So it's beef heart. And Peruvians, we eat all the stomach and all the intestines of the cows because it is tasty, nutritional, and delicious. So always together with potatoes. This is a snack in the highlands. I remember myself having a little break while we were harvesting the potatoes, and then our mom will have this prepared for us. So it is potatoes, eggs, fresh corn, cheese, and the spices will depend on the region where you are, but this is a snack. So this is what we eat during the 10 a.m. in the morning while we are working in the farms. So this is a meal that it is very characteristic in Cusco. This chiriuchu was offered in Peru. As you can see, it costs $8. And in June, it is the meal that is most consumed in Cusco because it has different servings, because it will have guinea pig. I didn't want to show you like an entire guinea pig, but it's hidden there. You have cheese, corn, you have sausage. They serve it with some caviar, fish eggs. They are not the expensive caviar, but are fish eggs. And these will be prepared just in the month of June for the Corpus Christi, which is very traditional as well. If you are more like on the sweet tooth, then this is picarones, the deep fried donuts that you have to try if you are here in the country. This is sold in many spots, especially in Lima, and as well chicha morada. So I have something to show you here. You see the corn in the picture, but then right here I will put it in front of you. This is just a small corn, purple corn that we have. And I have here holding my chicha morada, the same as the picture. So I just go for a drink. This is a very delicious drink. The ones who suffer with diabetes in the country, parallel to their treatment with medicines, they will have this corn. You just need to boil it with water, cinnamon, and cloves. And it will boil in 10, 15 minutes, and then you have the delicious purple corn. And then you have it, and it seems to regulate the sugar in your blood. So then it is a good option if you are having some problems with the sugar in your blood. So then if you're in Cusco, you have to try chicha. Chicha is this drink made of different other type of corns. I'm going to show you the other varieties of corn too. But this is made with jora, which is a processed corn. And this is what we drink in the farms, for example. We are farming in the highlands. We are growing the potatoes. We have to harvest it. And then we are thirsty. So then your parents are going to say, hey, I'm thirsty, chicha. Chicha is the Spanish name. But if we want to say it correctly in the country, in Quechua, in the countryside, in the highlands, this is going to be called aja, aja. So as you can see, the Quechua is with the throat. And this Quechua language is beautiful. And for example, it's very onomatopoeic. The way how they call the guinea pig, for example, it is cuy. And the cuy, why? It's because they make cuy, 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 cuy. So then they call them cuy. To give you another example about these beautiful Quechua names, a waterfall. A waterfall, it is pacha. So why it is called pacha? It's because the waterfall comes like, and when it hits the ground, it makes cha. So it's pacha. So Quechua, it is a very nice language to have contact with. And if you are in Cusco area, for sure, you are going to hear a bit of this language but while you are traveling and taking great pictures. This is, as I was telling you, when we are farming, then we have to eat well. We Peruvians like to eat a lot. So we have snacks in the middle, but those are our types of snacks. But where do we grow these potatoes? In these beautiful terraces. This is by my hometown, but as well in the Sacred Valley, you will have these kind of terraces. These terraces were kept with centuries ago, even pre-Inca times, are cultures that had been using these terraces. So my ancestors, my family, they were growing potatoes in these places. But how do they do it? If the terraces, they look so small, it doesn't matter. You take care of every single piece of dirt that is fertile to be able to harvest potatoes, because food is the most important in the highlands. You cannot starve in the highlands, because once you harvest, you are going to keep that food for a long time. A secret from the Incas, for example, it was to dehydrate the potatoes, and we could save or store the potatoes for at least 15 years, 1-5. So this dehydrated potato, they are well preserved during these times, and then they will last for a long time. So these traditions as keeping these beautiful terraces, because there is a time when farmers, they have to take care of it. It's a lot of job, but it's not just the costumes of the heritage that we have received from our ancestors. We have traditions that we carry in our genes, in our blood. Let me introduce to my crew of dancers, actually, oh, sorry, where did it go? Here. So this is my crew. We dance for the gods. And what is the main religion of Peru? Catholic people? Yes. When the Spanish people arrived to this area, they started to colonize and convert people into the Catholicism. But what were our gods in the past? Nature gods. We had the sun, the stars, Mother Earth, which is known as Pachamama. So it is a mix in between the Catholicism and our native gods. So whenever we have a festival, we pray to a virgin or a Christ. By hiding, we are actually dancing for Mother Earth, for the sun, and we will celebrate it in this way. We start very little to harvest these customs. So for example, here, this is a good way to explain how our culture, it is mixed with the Spanish customs as well. This costume that I'm wearing weighs 12 kilos, which will be 24 pounds, more or less. And I had to wear it since 7 in the morning to midnight, probably. And I saw my mom dancing since very little. And then when it was a time when I turned 13 years, I was able to dance for the first time. And I was always curious about these guys with the masks. And they, if you see their faces, they are representing the Spanish people. And they are the guards that take care of our crew, because they are the ones who will collect the pieces of silver. The costume that I'm wearing has pieces of silver, like coins, and if this falls down, then they have to pick it up, but at the same time, they make fun with the people. It is a time to celebrate, to celebrate life, to celebrate the time together. So that is the spirit of the people in the highlands. We like to share, we like to make people smile. And then here, we have, for example, this little boy that came to me and said, can I have a picture with you? So then I said, yes, for sure. And then he said, I always wanted to dance, and my mom let me dance this year. So since very little, we start with these traditions. And let's go back to Cusco area, where you have these little kids from kindergarten. You will start to dance, to perform what you have as a costume from your ancestors. So then it is actually a subject in the kindergarten, in primary school. You have to learn to dance actually the most important dances of the country. And it depends on the regions where you are, but then you are going to learn, and it's not mandatory. You don't feel that you are forced to do it. You are happy to dance, because it's the best way to express that you are happy and you are proud of your culture. So look at these little kids. They are not older than 7 or 8 years old, and they are performing for the entire town in Cusco area. This happens in the month of June, because we celebrate the month of the Inti Raymi, which is the biggest celebration for the Incas and the summer or winter solstice that we have here. This is a great picture because it shows the faith. It shows the way how the Peruvians, whenever we have festivals, we dance, and the way how we pray to our gods, that our family is well protected, harvests are protected, and we have our healthy family. And you pray for the older people in your town. You probably are praying for your mom. And that is how the elderly people in the communities are like a treasure. They are wise people. We learn from them all what we know. And then even this lady that in the picture, she might have 86, 88 years old, but they never stop doing something. She's spinning. If you see them, they are not just sitting and enjoying the view. They will always be doing something with their hands. The life in the highlands, it is very peaceful and quiet, as you can see. The kids here, they just probably need to have not even a toy. They just need to use their imagination, and then besides they have to help their parents. They will be they will be playing and just having a great time. But then here there is a good opportunity for me to talk about education. And the ones who have been here in the country, you know that this place has opportunities, and it has non-opportunities for certain people, especially for the ones who live far away from the city or from the towns. You have schools that are far, or that were built there just to make sure that most of the Peruvian kids have studies. But you cannot guarantee that all of them will be able to go to school. So education in the country, it is mandatory, but not everyone can access to it. Well, we have a little visitor here. Sorry, guys, my cat. Pickle. Okay, so if you have no access to education, actually you are okay. I know that I shouldn't be saying that you are okay, but in the far communities, you will learn from your old people. You will learn from your mom at the age of 6, 7, 8 years how to weed, how to harvest. So you will always have a skill. And this is the case, for example, of these ladies that are from Chinchero. They are having a late, they are getting educated, but then they look at them all. This is a selected group of the best weavers of Chinchero community. But then nowadays there are programs for them to finish their studies, and then they know how to read and write as well. In the highlands, if we see everywhere through the windows when you are traveling, or if you go to the markets, you will always see people that are willing to smile. It doesn't matter if they are having a bad time, but they will always try to smile and just celebrate the fact that we are a rich culture, and you will always contribute with your society with something. This is just a group of people, and you have here this lady that is from Chinchero, and she is dyeing the wool of the sheep, of llamas, and they are weaving this beautiful outfit, their skirt. Look at her skirt. They made it themselves, and they use natural dyes for it. So this is one of the girls that are so proudly showing the techniques on dyeing. But then if you come to Peru, of course, you want to see llamas and alpacas. And I love this reaction when people just see llamas and alpacas. And but what's the difference between them? That's the most common question. How do I recognize llamas among alpacas? So the ones that can say it, let's do it very simple. A llama, which is on the right side, won't have too much fur in the face, and the ears are a bit longer and more pointy. While the alpacas, they are more fluffy and hairy. It happens the same to the legs part as well. Look at this is the beautiful llama on the left and alpaca on the right. And if you can tell the difference, then if you come to Peru, you will be an expert, well, as soon as you see one of these. Our textiles and our ceramic, they've been inspired from nature. This is an area that is called Pircoyo, where you have a llama and a little guy walking closer to the screen. And this is a natural formation. So our textiles, they get dyed with these colors as well. So this is something really interesting, the embroidery that you will find in the local markets. But this happens when you create centers to help people who didn't have access to education. You will have these places where they teach them as well to do it. So EF does something important, and we have this program, like it's called service learning, where kids from different countries, especially United States, they come, and as a part of the tour, they do their service project. In this case, they are clearing the area, because in this place, they are going to build a refuge for people who cannot go to school because they live 6, 8 hours or even longer than that, farther from the closest town where they have a school. So here they are going to build a place where kids can come from Monday to Friday, assist to school, and then on weekends they can go back to their places. So here, not just EF, because we have other NGOs that are really concerned about giving opportunities and changing these societies and having these new places where kids can really take advantage and then have education. In Peru, guys, education is not, how you say, kids are really happy to go to school, to have the access to education. It is a prize. You have people nowadays walking 45 minutes, 1 hour far just to go to school. So they are changing people's lives. They are not just building something, they are actually giving opportunity to a lot of people that might not have that opportunity if they wouldn't be doing this. So this is just a little picture that I wanted to share with you. If you go back to Cusco, there is so much to talk. As you can see, it's been a bit like with so much information around, sorry for that. But then Cusco, if you visit Cusco, you have to go to these places. This is Sacsayhuaman. If you see the wall, it's like a lightning, or you have these huge pieces of stones, like 120, 130 tons, that they had to be removed by the Inca people. How they did that? Well, there are lots of theories because we didn't have anything written by them. So there are no reports on how they did this, but we know that they used the logs of the wood to remove these pieces of rocks, and how they polished the rocks to make sure that they were fitting one next to the other one. Those are things that your guides are going to explain, because once you visit these beautiful places, they just start with this awesome information about all these places. So here you have the Sacred Valley. Sacred Valley is beautiful. Far from Cusco, we start moving towards Machu Picchu. And in this Sacred Valley, what we grow the most will be quinoa. Quinoa is a superfood together with the kiwicha. And you mainly have the harvest of corn. Corn is one of the main crops that we are harvesting here. And in Peru, there are so many varieties of corn, the same as a potato, but not as many. We are talking about 300 average different types of corn. And look at, this is the Cusqueña corn. One of the kernels can be like this size, and it's just one of the Cusqueña people. They feel so proud of it. But how did they did? How they were able to do this beautiful valley? Because they were very the Incas, they could adapt really well to the geography. So if they didn't have water, they were building this kind of aqueducts far away, many miles away, all the way to the almost to the top of the mountains, and then they were bringing it down and making sure that these aqueducts even go through the towns. This is Ollantaytambo, one of the nicest towns that we have. If you visit this place, if you walk through these little streets, then you go back 500 years ago in time, because it is still having the same size of the streets, the same size of the way how it used to be in the past, because they just needed a wide path just for one llama or two going at the same time carrying the stuff. So this path, it's the same size. This is a part of the Inca Trail. When you walk the Inca Trail, there are many Inca Trails in the country, but there's a famous one that it's hiked 4 days, 3 nights, and then you arrive to Machu Picchu. Along the way, you have this Cataleya orchid, very famous, but you have many species of them, 22 registered along the Inca Trail. And if you are afraid of heights, then of course the Incas, they were not afraid of heights. They were taking advantage of every single corner of the mountain. This is the first view that you start having once you arrive to Machu Picchu. And this amazing place was lost 360 years since the Spanish people arrived to the country until Hiram Bingham found it again. So there are so many things said about Machu Picchu. Most of them are theories because we don't know for sure what it was. They believe that it was a resting place for the king. As well, they believe that it was a place like a school where they were teaching them the best skills, like weaving, ceramic, and pottering, all the skills that they needed to learn. But as I said, this was one of the most important places for the Incas because they protected really well. the Spanish didn't find it. What you can see, 82% of it, it is original. They just restored the other part. When Hiram Bingham found Machu Picchu in 1911, he found it with a lot of vegetation covering Machu Picchu, but then they cleaned it up. And Machu Picchu means the old mountain. And we know that it was sent to build by one of the most important kings, Pachacutic. He was the one that built or asked their people to build this place. It is well protected by the snow-capped mountains. And then we know why this place was not possible to be found by the Spanish people. We actually celebrate that because then we can see it as it used to be in the past. So this is a place that people wait a lot to see. As I said before, there is a lot of information to talk and to share with you about Machu Picchu. Then we will have to have a good couple of hours to explain really well what Machu Picchu was. But when you arrive here, you have the chance to explore with your local guide and go all the way down. You make a circuit. A lot of people will ask me if it is possible to climb the Huayna Picchu. Well, there are lots of restrictions, and actually it's a bit dangerous to go to the top. Some companies, they do it, but some others prefer to not because of safety issues. So if you are a llama lover, you might find them because they belong to Machu Picchu. There used to be 12 llamas. Nowadays we have 28 of them. So they've been doing a good job by reproducing themselves. So they are the ones who take care of the grass. They are always in Machu Picchu. So this is a town that is called Aguascalientes. It is at the bottom of Machu Picchu. And just for a moment, cover it with vegetation, and that is how Hiram Bingham found this area. So Aguascalientes exists after Hiram Bingham arrived here. It is a touristic place, and then it's all covered with vegetation, and there you just find restaurants, hotels, and the train station. So time to move really quick and go to explore a little bit of the Iquitos. This is going to be shorter, I promise. And you have this Amazon area. From the plane, you have to go by plane because Iquitos is the place that has no access by road connecting with other cities. You have to get there by plane or by boat. Probably you will better have a plane from Lima. It's 1 hour and 45 minutes. And this is what you will start looking at, the meandered rivers. And then finally you arrive to Iquitos place. This is a different area of Peru. People will dress up different. So the houses will look in the suburbs, will look like this. It's flooded or still water, and then they have their houses built on top of platforms. So this is very typical of Iquitos. You are there in the tropical area. It is really hot, an average of 84 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. It's just an average because it can really go over that in the month of August to July, August, September. It's really hot. So this is the way how Iquitos people live. There are not cars. Well, you can see a few cars that they were brought by pieces with the planes, but in general, these are the cars of people, the canoas, the canoes. That is the car where they transport all their products and they bring it from the jungle to the town. So here, this is a satellite picture of Iquitos. On the lower side, you have this Amazon River. This Amazon River, considered the longest river in the world. They were trying to have this competition with the Nile River, but then in 2010, they finally found out that the Amazon, it's born in a place far here in between Cusco and Lima. There is an area that it's, I'm sorry for that, it's like the farthest tributary, or it's where the river is born, so then it makes it longer than the Nile River. So it goes to the north since it is born, and then it joins all other different rivers such as Marañón, and then finally it arrives to the north. It goes to part of Colombia and then Brazil, and finally it goes to the Atlantic Ocean. So this Amazon River, could be, how wide could it be? You can imagine in the low season, it can really be very wide because during the rainy season, it floods and it expands a bit more. So sometimes it is between 1.6 miles to 6 miles wide in an average of how wide this river would be. So this Amazon River, for example, it's the main highway for all the people who live in this area. They transport everything. They are mainly doing logging, they do farming, and tourism is one of the most important activities for them. The outfit changes there. These are native communities. The type of like the faces and the race changes as well. So they live in a more peaceful way. And as I said, tourism, it is a great opportunity for them. They use a lot the palm leaves for for covering their roofs of their houses, of their boats. Palms are important as well for the ecosystem because there we have macaws and parrots as well. So you have here a good example of one of the 4,000 different types of butterfly that Peru has. If you are there, you will just start having these butterflies. There are beautiful butterflies. A lotus or the water lily. This is very typical from Iquitos. If you are there, for sure you are going to see it. If you like photography, this is the paradise for people. This is a hanging leaf, but it's not just a hanging leaf. It's the amazing way how nature adapts itself in order to survive. So in this area, the competition for the soil, it is really high. And in this place, the plants and the animals are trying to make their best adaptations to make sure that they are not eaten by bugs or just trying to get stronger to finally change the color, and then they won't be eaten because they are looking like a dry leaf. No, bugs, they love fresh leaves. You have mushrooms, the poison dart frogs. They are typical from all in those Amazon area. It is said that the poison of one frog can kill 10 human people easily. So their poison is really bad. No, but they don't use it to kill people. Fortunately, they use it for hunting. No, they just wrap a little bit of the back of the frog. They put it on the spine or thorn, and then they blow it to the monkey, and then they are able to hunt. So then here you have this is not a butterfly, it is a moth. It is a diurnal moth called Piranhas. So you can see these beautiful butterflies. You have the pink dolphins. Pink dolphins, they exist in the Amazon River. They actually don't know how they arrived into that area. They think that 10 million years ago they did it, but there are lots of research and studies about the pink dolphins. They like to take them to the aquariums because of their beautiful color, but they don't survive well in captivity. So how big are they? This is just to give you a perception on how big they are taller than people. They can reach up to, it was 6 foot, 7 foot, and they can weigh 370 pounds. So as well, if you are in the Amazon area, you are expecting to see piranhas. But bad news, guys, no worries. Piranhas are not like in the films. They don't bite or eat people or cows. They have those teeth because they feed mainly on seeds, on fruit that drop into the water. They like calm water. They don't like much the currents. So you can see the sharp teeth. It's not to bite people, it is to find their food at the bottom of any lake or lagoon. Of course, if you go there, you might be expecting to see the anacondas. Anacondas, I have seen an anaconda of 21 feet once along my 4 years living in the rainforest. So they are not very common to see, but if you are lucky, you might see one of them. They can eat a deer or a capybara and then go to sleep for a quite long time. So they are not dangerous, they are not looking for people. And that is how you start having a nice sunset in the jungle. This is how during the mornings you barely see the extreme of the other side of the river. You know, so there are just so many things to show and to share with you, but the time it's been like running too fast. And here we just start talking about how Peru will offer you different things every day, every single corner you turn around, you will discover new things about the Incas, about the actual people, and how proud we are to share our country, our culture, how we teach to our kids to feel proud of what we are, because that is important. The identity is something that we are trying to build it stronger and tough because of all the issues that we had in the past. So? And since very little, with a lot of love and passion, we have this little girl that is Romina. She loves guinea pig. It's her favorite meal. Like the kids in the highlands, they all learn very little to have their traditional food, and they somehow are just loving this idea of being Peruvians, and always trying to harvest, to cultivate, and to keep our traditions. So I hope that you one day might get to this view and to get to see Machu Picchu, the same as the Llama. So this has been a great experience. So guys, I just feel that I have so many more things to share, but thank you for your time. Thank you, Mara, for the chance, and I just pass it back to you.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you. I feel like I need to ask you a million questions myself, but I think I'm going to allow the audience to ask their questions, and I'll get back to mine at another time. So at this point, Sally, if you want to open your Q&A and just review the questions, I'm going to just briefly just tell the audience that we appreciate you being here. Obviously, Sally, your time and attention to all of this is wonderful, and I know that if we were on the ground, you would be doing this without thinking twice. But when you bring technology into play and you have to research and find the pictures and put it all together, it takes a lot of attention. So we do appreciate all of your time and effort against that. Audience, if you would like to send a tip, it is of course discretionary, but we do appreciate showing Sally the appreciation of her time and attention. You can take a screenshot of the screen that's up right now. I will also send this information in a follow-up email tomorrow so that you have it at your fingertips. But essentially, I can take payment anyway, from Venmo to PayPal, a check if you need it. 100% of the tips go directly to Sally. I'm just facilitating this and hosting it to support the tour director community and to keep travel alive for the rest of us. In terms of my travel program, I know there were a couple questions that were raised in the Q&A about my travel program. My travel program is good for everyone. We have families, we have older people who are friends that go, we have girls that go. So it's really an eclectic group, and it's an eclectic group of like-minded people who enjoy life and enjoy one another's company and love to travel. I'm going to share on this screen. You'll see that I have some upcoming tours that are physical tours. And if you're interested in one of them, please, send me a note later on. I'm also going to share our tours that are virtual that are coming up. Again, these are on my website, which is girltraveltours.com. But these are the next 4 tours, and we'll have additional tours. I'm scheduling them all the time with folks. So just know that they are coming. Right now, I'm going to go back to Sally. I think that we have given you enough time to look at some of the questions. And if you want to just comment on some of them as you go through, I'll help you out by deleting them as we go through them. So I'm going to hand it back over to you, Sally, if you're ready to take over some of the questions.
Yeah, Mara, I think the first ones are for you. They say it's about if the tours are just for girls. And there's one that I canceled my maybe you can answer those because it's about
Sure.
the cancellations.
So yes, again, just to be clear, I'm not doing these to promote my tours, but again, if you want to look at my tours, you can go to girltraveltours.com. You can join our Facebook group, which is always alive with conversation and upcoming tours. But in terms of the questions for you, Sally, if we want to go down to
yeah, I found just for example, Tom says, can you explain more about the building foundations? Probably it's about this, the Incas, they did foundations that were so stable that even the Spanish people, if they wanted to break them, they were not going to be able to do it. Now, actually, with the machines and technology that we have, we cannot build foundations as they did, because they dig into the ground and they go 6 feet deep, and then they started the foundation from there. So the Spanish just smartly, they decided to leave those foundations and keep building on top of it. How hard, how hard it is for a person to tour Peru and maintain a gluten-free diet? Completely easy. We have quinoa, we have different types of meals that we gluten-free, vegan people, you just have no issues. You never starve because we have great food to offer, especially quinoa. You have potatoes, so many types of potatoes. So then I think that will be a great time. No, I have had gluten-free people, and we always have something to offer for them. Every day something different. Gail, can you please spell the name of the favorite drink and a favorite meal in Peru? Yeah, sure. The favorite meal is Lomo Saltado. It's Lomo. Saltado is Saltado. And the drink is chicha. Not chicha, or if you probably meant the pronunciation in Quechua, it is AJA. Aha. Daniel, did I understand that I have heard that the terrain of Machu Picchu is very treacherous. Is this true? Thank you. Marianne. Treacherous. Well, Machu Picchu terrain, there are studies where engineers are studying it, that Machu Picchu, it's been sinking. So that's why they are trying, or they are planning to limit the capacity of people going every day. But as well in the grounds, they have found beautiful stones that are called the Machu Picchu stones. And they use these stones for jewelry. No, it's the serpentine stone rocks. If that's what you mean, in the terrain area we have that kind. Barbara says, hi Sally, I'm interested in learning more about things you use to create a drink. The purple corn. This I wish, Barbara, that you have this corn at home, so then I will quickly give you the recipe. It's a corn that you just boil it with cinnamon and cloves, and then you drink it with no sugar. You just make it part of your day. So as I said, I wish I can send you some of this home, and then it's probably one of the types that we don't export yet because it's not known in the world. And Pat, how did the Inca prevent potato famine in your country? Well, the Incas, they actually took the knowledge of other people from the past, and then they just adapt a few of the varieties of the potatoes. So then we eventually had these hybrids, and it's something that we've been struggling with these last days. But in the past, we didn't hear about something eating our crops or something bad. I think it was natural. No? They just used mint or some other products to prevent like them being eaten by animals or bugs while they were storing this for so many years. Marianne, is there a lot of crime in Peru? Well, the same as in many other places. You will have places where you shouldn't go, and for sure, like, tour companies won't let you go. There is crime. They are trying to control it, but we don't see people shutting up others as in other countries. But of course, you have to know where you are going in the country if you visit it. Politically stable, oof, that's the question that now it will be a headache. Right now, politicians are literally uh, trying to say bad things among them all in the Congress. So actually, many Peruvians are not interested on see the politicians anymore because due to this virus, there's a lot of medicine that it's been way 200 or 2,000 times raised up their prices, and then it is the monopoly that it's just very corrupt. So it's not like the best time to talk about politics in the country. Like Peruvians are not very happy about that. Uh, Barbara says where the most missionaries churches came to visit Peru. Well, they've been everywhere. Jesuits, especially, they've been in all the regions, in many of in the jungle. Iquitos as well has the reputation that they were found by missionaries in the past, around 16 something, and they will be pretty much everywhere. Catholicism, it is the number one religion in the country, 60% of people. But then we have Protestants, evangelists, Mormons, and other religions that are growing in these last decades. Adriana, please comment on how physically taxing it is for people in their 60s to visit high altitude Cusco. Adriana, about altitude, young or old people can get it. But our secret it is to advise all our travelers to drink plenty of water before coming, and that usually helps a lot. So if you are a very sporty person, very fit, it doesn't guarantee that you won't get altitude sickness. So it doesn't matter the age, it's the way how you get prepared before you are coming to the altitude. The guinea pig that you referred, it is the same as the guinea pig here. Well, yes, unfortunately, guinea pig in the country, we don't have them as pets. We just have them as food, but they live in our kitchen. So yeah, Peruvians, we are mean and we eat guinea pig. I don't do it though. I just stay away from them because when I was 6 years old, I ate my guinea pig without knowing it. Well, my mom didn't know that I decided to have one guinea pig as pet. It's the wrong idea being a Highlander girl. Spectac, thank you very much. Do the potatoes taste differently? Ooh, it is so. You should try all our varieties of potatoes. They completely taste different. If you open one of those purple ones, some of them are more starchy, some of them are sweeter, some of them are just plain. It depends. So they really taste different. And I grew up eating or consuming 340 different types until I was 8 years old. Rhonda, the cost of living. Well, our basic salary, it is $250 per month. And it depends on the city where you live. Lima is quite expensive. Iquitos is expensive. Cusco, as it is touristic, it's a bit expensive, but then in the rest of the country where it's a non-touristic, then you can afford things with not much issues. Mm-hmm. Don, about Pisco. He wants me to talk about Pisco. Pisco the town or Pisco the drink. I didn't know how many young people I was going to have in this talk, but about Pisco, it's the drink of the Peruvians. Besides the chicha, of course, it has 43% of alcohol in average, and it is our national drink. So we have Pisco sours, chilcanos, and I wish you are here in the country so that I can show you some recipes because Pisco, unfortunately, they don't sell it in many places. I know by friends that they already have in a few places in the United States, But I wish you guys have more of that pisco, because one shot, it cures any bad day or any bad headache that you might be having at the moment. Would someone know if there were being served cuy? No, no one, if your concern is about Gabra, if they will serve you or force you to eat guinea pig, no, never. Guinea pig, it's a delicacy in the country. So it's going to be offered by people who actually ask for it. We don't offer it in a daily menu. The menus when we travel are more flat, or you have the chance to choose what you are going to eat. In our EF trips, it depends on the type of codes. We usually try to organize chicken, fish, but we always have the requirements for food. So tour directors will take care and make sure that you have what you should be eating. So there are a lot of care. Todd, tell you where do students stay in Iquitos? Do they still have a bus for students? In Iquitos, the students, they go to a lodge. We have a lodge. So you arrive to Iquitos, to the town, and then you are moved from Iquitos by boat to the refuge. And most of the excursions and program, it happens from the lodge to the river, to the jungle. So it's staying in a place. And yeah, you still have one bus, but the bus is mainly for coming in and then coming out for the exit. Patricia, when is the best time of the year to visit Peru? Well, I would say between April to September, October, it's a good time to come. And it has good weather. From December to February, probably not, because you have the rain, but you never know. The Andes and the climate changing has been very unpredictable these last times. Please explain the string necklace with knots again. Thank you. The quipu, it is still in studies. So that means that archaeologists, they didn't find out 100% on what they really meant, but they have discovered a bit about the accounting. So they know that they have different types of knots. So according to the knots, they count 1,000, they count 100 or 10, and then they are still studying about the colors and about the areas, what they meant. You know? So they are still finding quipus in places. In Kawasi, it's a new place that you can Google it, where they, this last 6 months ago, they found more quipus, and then they came in different materials as well. So colors and they are still studying the quipus. But it was the accounting system and how they were able to control every single number or thing that they need to do it in those times. Lucy, do you know of any areas? Well, if Lucy is interested about the healthcare of hospital, and well, healthcare in the country, it's not for everyone. This is due that, for example, farmers, poor people in the highlands, they don't have to pay taxes. So that's why probably the government doesn't have any healthcare covering the entire country. So it's mainly, if you work for the government, then you have your healthcare insurance. But if you don't work for the government, then you have to look for a private one. So in that way, not everyone it is covered for the health. What is your favorite place in Peru? Oh, my favorite place, that will be difficult to choose. Don't make me do that in front of so many people. But probably my highlands, my hometown. It's been my paradise, my inspiration, the place where I have learned most of what I know. And the part of the Inca road that have to be rebuilt periodically by the people in the region. Christina, the Inca Trail has to close in the month of February because there is too much rain, and they just, in this month, they close it, so no one is allowed to go through, and the guards, they are able to take care and to maintain all the camping areas especially. Can you explain Monkey Island, please? Well, there are many places, there are many monkey islands in the country, especially in the Amazon basins, where they have rescued the monkeys from people that used to have them in captivity. And they brought them in those places to have a better quality of life, but they cannot adapt to the real nature. So that's why they have to keep them in an island. So then they are able to feed them and to just do a better care of them. Yeah. What was the place with the mountains that looked all colorful? Thank you. The colorful mountains, there are many in the country. A famous one that is called Rainbow Mountain, that is 3 hours away driving by car from Cusco, like the very famous one. But then there are others in many other regions of the country, especially in the south. What's the most beautiful alternative hike to the direct Inca Trail, Suzanne? The most beautiful hike will be the Inca Trail, the 4 days, 3 nights, the one that you begin from kilometer 82 towards Machu Picchu. But then you have another hike that it is just 2 days. So it's shorter, closer to Machu Picchu, and you actually hike the Inca Trail, or you have other longer ones that are Lares Trail or Choquequirao, which is a beautiful hike, one of the nicest hikes I have done, but that one takes 5 days at least, a Choquequirao hike. Alice, how do you climb Machu Picchu and adjust to the altitude? Well, good news, Alice, you don't hike to the top of Machu Picchu. There is a bus that takes you there. 25 minutes of bus ride saves you to suffer almost 2 hours of very steep steps going to the top. So by the time that you arrive to the bus station at Machu Picchu at the top, then you just need to walk around 15 to 20 minutes if you do it really slow to arrive to the viewpoint where that beautiful postcard picture of Machu Picchu is taken. So you shouldn't be concerned about the altitude. If you take it easy, then you will be fine. Todd, Adriana, I was over 60. Yeah, there, Todd is answering you, Adriana. He says that he was over 60 when he visited Peru, and Todd did it absolutely well. Like Todd and Ruth, you are expert hikers, guys. Rashida, do you have a website with local recipes? Yeah, you just look in anywhere in Google about Peruvian cuisine, and you might be surprised on how many recipes you get from our Peruvian cuisine. How hard it be have vegetarian meals of tourists in Peru? John, concerned about the vegetarian meals? No hard at all, because we have lots of beans, we have the quinoa, tons of veggies. All year round, we have good fruit and good vegetables. So then, as I said before, any of people having allergies or requirements for food suffer in the country. Not for any reason, we are known as the best cuisine in the world. So we have a lot of delicious food to offer for any requirement that they might have. Natalie, will you be giving this tour again? I'm sorry, I was late. Oh, I wish that must be with Mara. I will be happy.
I can jump in there, Natalie. This tour was recorded, so tomorrow you will receive an email, and you can go online to my website, which is listed on the slide right here, and all of the tours are recorded, so you can see it in its entirety in recording.
Well, we have another question, Murat. What is the altitude of Machu Picchu? It's 8,000 feet. Yeah, Machu Picchu is lower than Cusco. A lot of people think that it's the opposite, but actually if you arrive to Cusco, you get adapted to the altitude, and then you just start going lower, right? Because Cusco is over 11,000 feet, and then you start making your way down to Machu Picchu. So by the time that you arrive to Machu Picchu, your lungs are actually really happy and thanking you that you went lower. Gail, do some of the hotels have oxygen in the rooms? Not in the rooms,
but in every single hotel, in every single transportation, you have oxygen. Yeah, it's a rule. We all, in everywhere you will have oxygen, but not in the rooms. Um, Thank you, Susan. Thank you for your kind words. DC, I look forward to going to Peru. Muchas gracias, Ali. Yeah, I think, what is the currency at the average cost of Lima? Well, one of your dollars of the United States dollar, it is 3.42 at the moment. So with $1, you have 3.42 dollars, and with that money, you can buy a kilo of, or 2 pounds of sugar, for example. 1 kilo of eggs will be $2, or 2 pounds of eggs, $2.
That's awesome. That's great. That actually finishes out our questions for today. Thank you so much for staying on for so many great questions. And actually, you learned so much more through the questions. So I really appreciate everybody who posed one. Sally, and thank you for taking your time to answer them all. It really gives a different perspective, I think, of in addition to the presentation. So it was really awesome. Sally, I can't thank you enough. I feel like I know you very well now, and I can't wait to meet you in person. If there's anybody still on the line that feels like they have to do Peru, please contact me and jump on our tour, and we'll have a wonderful time with Sally in the future. If that is everything from the audience, I want to just wrap up and thank Sally again. And Sally, you know, please say your goodbyes as well, and we'll end the presentation for the day.
Thank you very much again, Mara, for this opportunity. I wish I had longer time. I feel like so many words are here in my mouth still. But then if you come to Peru, I wish that you have a great time here, and all tour directors are having this passion for the country. So I just wish you have a great time here in the country. Just bye, bye to Ruth, to Todd, Stephanie, Mary. It was great to know that you were there. Thank you so much, Mara.
All right, take care. Thank you, everybody. We'll
Bye,
see you next time in Ireland. Bye-bye.